Hey, John, this is Chris with American Income Life Insurance Company. I'm going to be the one that's going to explain your benefits to you that you get through your union, the UFCW. Um, so you've talked with your union, you know what they've done for you, right? Oh, you don't? Okay, I'm just going to back up a little bit, explain what we're going to do during our meeting today. So because of your membership in the UFCW, you're going to be receiving a $4,000 AD&D certificate, no cost last will and testament kit, eyewear discount card, child safe ID kits for all of your kids that are under 18, and a family information guide. I'm also going to see what kind of benefits I can qualify you for that your union has set up to fill in any gaps in your coverage. And at the end, we just go over a report card that goes back to the unions and the company just so that they know I've met with you here online and that I'm doing a good job. Does that sound fair? Excellent. So how long have you been with the UFCW for? Excellent. And how do you like working with them? Cool. And did you grow up in Edmonton here? Excellent. Right on. What do you and your kids like to do for fun? Nice. And do you have a family here, like parents or siblings, and do all of them live in the area? Nice. Excellent. So here's a copy of the letter from your union. We've taken the time to read it. Right on, right on. So I want to ask you, do you know the difference between your temporary and your permanent benefits? So by temporary, like everybody has great benefits through work. But when you leave your job, change careers, get laid off or retire, your benefits go away. So they have set up permanent benefits that can fill in your gaps that you don't already have through work so that when you do leave your job, retire, you get to take them with you and they do not expire. That makes sense, right? All right. So right here is your AD&D certificate. It covers you when you die in any type of accident. It's non-contributory, non-participating, which is a fancy way of saying that you don't have to pay anything for it or medically qualify for it. It's because you're a member in good standing with UFCW. Pretty nice, huh? So right here is your child safe ID kit. You're familiar with the Amber Alerts, right? Well, police in our communities are actively searching for over 2,300 children each and every day, which is over 800,000 kids yearly. And when a parent is unprepared, it can take up to 4 hours for the authorities to gather all the information that they need in order to begin their search. And that leads to a 4-hour search radius in each direction. It's a big problem. Even more frightening than that is if a lost child is not found within 24 hours, there's a 93% chance that they won't be found or found alive. So you can see why these kits are so important for all parents who have kids under 18 to have them set up for their kids, right? In fact, it's the goal of the International Union of Police Associations to get these child safe kits out to 100% of parents in the community. But in reality, that's impossible without your help. So what they're asking is that every person, every family I meet with is that they sponsor in 100% of the families they know who have kids under 18. And they'll receive the kits at no cost to them, no cost to you. So what most people do is they take out their phone and they start from A and they look through and they see the families that they have with kids under 18. Go ahead and grab your phone and start scrolling through. All right, so who's the first person under A who has kids under 18? All right, that's a lot of families we're going to get protected there. That's great. So the next benefit that you get through the UFCW is your last will and testament kit. You got no cost. With everything going on in the world, a lot of people have been scrambling to get their wills set up. But what people are realizing is that wills cost a lot of money. In fact, the average cost of a will in North America is anywhere between $900 to $1,500 per individual. Even more surprising is how many families do not have a will prepared. They realize that everybody has a beneficiary for their bank accounts and their life insurance, but few people have a will set up to take care of their children and the lives they leave behind. So we're go through that really quickly, make sure you understand how to fill in all of the sections. Okay. So since wills are so important during times like these, they are allowing you to extend $10,000 worth of these will kits to the people in your life that are the closest to you, 10 closest family and friends. So they will receive the kit at no cost through your sponsorship. Most people start with their family first because you'll be in their will, then sponsor their close friends. So who's your oldest brother, John? Perfect. All right, glad we could use all 10 of those. This is your vision discount card right here. It's not vision insurance, but the card is to you at no cost, and it will give you discounts on vision prescriptions, frames, lenses, coatings. Here's the Loblaws, superstores. Those are the ones in the local area that you can save 30% off. Anything that's prescription, 15% off of non-prescription sunglasses. So that's a pretty nice benefit, huh? Excellent. And right here, this is your family information guide. It works in conjunction with your will kit. So when something happens to you, your family will know exactly what to do. After it's filled out, you'll want to put it in a safe place at home. Make sure you fill in the top part is your vital information. The persons to be notified, the next section, is the most important part. Did you know that every year, millions of dollars of life insurance goes unclaimed? Either the family doesn't know about the insurance, they don't know how to make a claim, or the beneficiary can't be found. What they are saying is that you put down at least 5 people in your local area that will be there to help out your family immediately when something happens to you. So, John, who are the top 5 key people in your life? Most people put their family, closest friends, neighbors. Okay, good. So your estate information is going to go here. You do have life insurance outside of work, right? Okay. Through work, that's temporary. You're going to want to put that in pencil so it can be erased. Next is your financial information, financial institution information. Do you use checkings or savings? You put that information there because when you die, somebody is going to have to go close down your accounts. And next is your funeral and final service request. This is very important. Have you ever had to plan a funeral before? Okay. Do you know if you want cremation or burial? No? Okay. Either way, it's very expensive. Just remind me before I go, part of the program does take care of all of your final expenses, but you will need to qualify for that. You see how important this guide is? Okay. Now, because you have an in with the UFCW and AIL, they're allowing you to extend the same no-cost benefits package to the people in your life that are going to help out when something happens to you. So they're going to be receiving the same $2,000 AD&D certificate, the vision discount card, family information guide, last will and testament kit, and child safe kit of their own. They do have to qualify. They do have to be 18 or older, living in Canada, be employed, and they can't be in any type of trouble with the law. So we'll take care of your close family first. All right, then your close friends, all of your coworkers, neighbors. Perfect. So what I want you to do is just send them this text I'm going to send you, just so that they know who I am. You do text, right? Everybody text. So what I want you to do is take this text and forward that to them right now, because if you're anything like me, you'll probably forget to do it later. All right. So, John, since you didn't find out exactly what the UFCW has done for you, I'll back up a little bit. They do mention in the letter that there's a program they set up for members. In fact, this is the Labor Advisory Board. It consists of 54 international labor and association leaders. They're very important because what they do is help advise and make recommendations as to where the gaps are in your benefits and what benefits people need. They've asked us to read this letter to each of our members, and since the UFCW sponsored you, I'll read it to you. You see, that's the reason they were chosen to do the program for the unions, because they realized that typically 31 days after you leave a job, get laid off, or retire, you can lose all your insurance benefits, or they greatly reduce. These are permanent and portable insurance benefits, and if you qualify, you get to keep them for the rest of your life. Pretty nice, huh? In fact, they don't just work with police, firefighters, and teachers. They work with over 40,000 groups and are rated A+, and over 5 million members are enrolled. So they must be doing something right, wouldn't you say? Just because the UFCW extended these benefits to you doesn't mean you're automatically allowed to enroll. You do have to qualify. If you're too high risk, they can't let you in. So they do have me ask you a couple of questions just to make sure, okay? So have you ever been in any trouble with the law, any arrests, which would include any DUIs? No? Okay. Have you ever used any tobacco or marijuana in the last 12 months? Okay. And do you take any prescription medications? No? All right. Have you had any health issues in your lifetime? Any family history of cancer, diabetes, or heart disease? No? Based on what you've told me, I'm not sure if you're qualified yet, but you do have a chance, so I can at least explain the benefits to you. The needs analysis determines need based on three things: family situation, benefits you already have, and income. So what they have me do is ask you a couple of questions to see exactly what you might qualify for. This thing here is just called HP Pro. So John, did the UFCW tell you all about the Hour Power program? Oh, they didn't? Okay. So the Hour Power is a very old principle that says members should take the first 2 hours of their weekly wage and set it aside to protect themselves and provide for their family's future. Now, 2 hours of your wage each week is roughly 1/20th of your income, right? And that's not going to change your lifestyle any, is it? Of course not. Any financial planner would tell you to set aside at least 10 to 15% of your income. Your program is based on 2 hours, which is only 5%. They do this so that all members can afford. Now, provided that you can qualify, they allow you to set between $20 to $100 a week. Every member has different situations and different hourly wages. What I'm obligated to do is show you what setting aside your 2 hours combined will do and what kind of protection that will provide. Then when I'm done, they would like you to have your opinion on this report card that goes directly back to them. Is that fair? So, John, what do you make an hour? What I'm going to do is show you what setting aside $100 will do for your family. Just like any other enrollment period, provided that you can qualify, there are forms that do need to be filled out together today, and it's not something we can do later over the phone. So be sure to stop me anytime you have any questions. Is that fair? Okay. Now, they're concerned with three major areas: accidental injuries, final expenses, and paycheck protection. So the first area they're concerned with is when you're injured in any type of accident. Have you thought about what you would do if you were to get injured in an accident? Well, the Labor Advisory Board and American Income have given it a lot of thought. Their concern isn't that your medical bills won't be taken care of. You have health insurance to take care of that. When it's job related, then workers' compensation is there, and a lot of members have some form of disability. What they are concerned with is lost wages and other expenses that start to pile up. John, when you end up in the hospital, even though your medical bills are taken care of, nobody's going to pay you to be there, right? And when something happens to one of the kids, you're not going to be going to work, right? So, John, when you or any of the kids get hurt and have to go to the emergency room, they're going to send you $150 just for taking the time to go get the injury looked at. So for any kind of accident, whether you scrape your knee, need stitches, on or off the job, that money goes directly to you at home. The only exception to that is when you have to stay overnight in the hospital. They're going to send you $300 a day for up to a full year. That ends up being $2,100. So let me ask you, When that money comes in, will that help out your family? Yeah, of course it will, right? Now, the only exception to that is when you have to stay in the intensive care unit. They're going to send you $600 a day for up to 2 full weeks. The reason why it's $600 a week is because usually when you're in intensive care, it's a life or death situation. Does that make sense? Now, the second area they're concerned with is your final expenses. Now, John, who's going to be taking care of your funeral and final expenses when you die? Let me ask you, have you ever had to plan a funeral? You don't know and haven't had to plan a funeral? The reason I ask is because it's a really serious problem. Now, the concern isn't the fact that you're going to die, because we all will at some point, right? But when we die, someone in our family has to face a funeral director immediately. Funeral directors these days require all or a bulk of the money upfront on the spot before they start doing anything, or at least they want to know where the money is going to come from. Did you realize that? A lot of people don't. So while your kids are waiting for life insurance to come in, who's going to have to take care of things in the meantime? That's right, they're your kids, your dad, and they'll have to take the money out of savings, or worse yet, they may have to borrow it. That makes sense. So now what they've done is actually set up the freedom of choice certificate to take care of your funeral and final expenses. So if you were to qualify, you and the kids would receive your own certificate that looks just like this. Now they call it the freedom of choice because it's good at any funeral home. The way that it works is that when something happens to you, John, any of the kids, you take this certificate to the funeral home of your choice, and the funeral director looks at you and says, "I'm really sorry for your loss. John's funeral is going to be $15,000. How would you like to take care of that today?" At that point, your dad or the kids says, "John has the freedom of choice." And everything is taken care of from that point on. John, in your case, they've set aside $30,000. And for the kids, they have $15,000 to take care of the funeral and final expenses. And what's not used at the funeral home gets sent to the beneficiary. Now, let me ask you, John, isn't it nice to finally have this taken care of for your family? So the kids are covered for $15,000 each, and it can be converted once they're 18, regardless of their health or habits. Then they can keep it for the rest of their lives. Pretty nice, huh? Now, the only exception to this is when you die before the age of 65. You'll probably be in some type of accident, right? John, when something happens to you in any type of accident, not only will they immediately take care of your funeral and final expenses, but they're also going to send your family an additional $200,000 to help out during that time. When we die in any type of accident, what will it probably be? That's right, a car accident. In that case, they're going to send an additional $280,000 and take care of all your final expenses. When traveling on a common carrier like a bus, plane, or train, they will send an additional $350,000 to your kids. Each of your children are covered for 20% of that, with the same accidental death. Does that make sense? The third problem they're concerned with is your paycheck. So, John, you're on your way home from work and you get killed in a car accident or pass away from a stroke or heart attack. Is your paycheck going to keep coming in to support the kids, your dad? Of course not. The paycheck vanishes just like that. But taking care of the family, putting food on the table, paying your bills, all of those things pretty much stay the same. So, John, the bills keep coming in month after month and your paycheck's gone, right? And you do have life insurance through work, and UFCW does realize that all of the members do have that in place. But here's what happens in a typical situation. When you die, the family immediately has to start dipping into those lump sums. First, they have to reimburse your burial and miscellaneous expenses. And then because your paychecks have stopped coming in, they have to keep dipping into your savings to pay bills and put food on the table. And then a year or two later, what happens to all that money? That's right, it's completely disappeared. It's gone. So here's your paycheck protection or readjustment income. John, when something happens to you, they're going to start sending your dad and the kids the very next month and every single month after that for a minimum of a year, $10,000. The reason they chose at least a year is because you need a decent time to adjust. A couple of months just isn't enough time. Does that make sense? So what they're going to do in your case, John, when you die, they're going to start sending your dad and the kids $10,000 every single month for 1 year. This is for any cause of death. All right. And will that give your family some time to adjust? Yeah, of course it will. Now, John, you'll be in a position that when that does happen, your kids will be able to receive that money and get invested for the future, help your dad take care of things, take care of the kids' education, retirement. Does all of that make sense? Okay. So this does build an emergency fund. So after 3 years, if things were to ever get tight financially, there will be some money there to help take care of your program during that time so you don't lose it. There are also paid up benefits so that when you retire, you can stop contributing to the program and keep a reduced paid up final expense benefit for the rest of your life. Pretty nice, huh? Have you ever thought about what you would do if you're diagnosed with a terminal illness? Well, they put a lot of thought into it. In fact, they realized that you're going to need a lot of money. When you're diagnosed with terminal illness and not expected to live more than a year, they're going to send you half the final expense and paycheck protection. The other half will come to your family after you've died. There's also a strike and layoff clause so that you can't lose your program. In fact, in the case of a union strike, they'll take care of your insurance benefits for up to a year, and you never have to pay it back. Even if you can't work for just 1 day because of a strike, they will take care of your benefits not only for a week, which is $100, but for a whole month, which is $400. And on layoffs, as long as you've been working in the past 12 months, they will take care of your program for up to 3 months and you never have to pay it back. It's pretty nice, huh? Also, the insurance benefits are guaranteed, non-cancelable, which means that if you qualify, no matter what happens in the future to your health, age, or habits, no one can ever take this away from you. Does that make sense? Now, I've shown you what setting aside 2 hours will do for your family. Let's review it to make sure it's clear. Your accidental injury benefits are there for your family. Your freedom of choice certificate covers you and the kids for any cause of death and is there until it needs to be used. Your paycheck protection and all your protections make sure that no matter what happens moving forward, you never have to lose your benefit after today. Even if you change jobs, get very sick, move, retire. Again, you can see why these are so important for your family, right? Now, my job, because of what the union has done for you, is to help you get enrolled for what you qualify for. The best part about it is they set it up like a payroll deduction, but they do it once a month through your own checking account. That way, when you change jobs or retire, you never have to worry about losing the insurance benefits because they're under your control, not your employers or the unions. Pretty nice, huh? Let's face it, we're all gonna die. We don't have a choice. Whether we deal with this now or someone in your immediate family, kids, your dad, will have to deal with this when something happens. That makes sense, right? Now, you'll have to answer some medical questions to see if you can even qualify. But probably the most important question I will need to ask you is when something happens to you, say in a bad car wreck, there will be a little over $500,000 and $10,000 a month for a year, every month. Who do you want that to go to? Now, it doesn't make a difference to your dad and your kids which of these programs you try to qualify for. Most families try to qualify for their 2 hours combined, which is what I went over with you. Some families ask if they can do a little bit more and set aside more for their family and double their benefits, which is $200 a week. Or sometimes members choose a more basic program just to get started, their foot in the door, and know that they will try to upgrade down the road, provided that they can still qualify. Which of those options makes the most sense to you? Okay. While you're thinking about which of these options makes the most sense, I'll go ahead and ask you the medical questions to make sure you can even qualify. All right, so now that we filled out the application, just want to make sure that we have the correct email so we can get you everything to sign. We have the right draft date. So the amount that we process every month on today's date will be $400. I can also make it for any date between now and the next 12 days. Is there any particular date between today and the 21st that makes the most sense to process it on? Perfect. So your policy will arrive to you in the next 6 to 8 weeks. And once you've received it, you've been permanently qualified and accepted. Okay. So there are 5 things that can happen during the qualification process. There's a chance you could be declined, in which case they'll send everything back to you. They may give you a rating to offset the risk of a pre-existing condition, which is great news because you're a qualifying standard for someone with your condition. You can do the rating and keep the benefits the same, or do the same amount set up today and decrease the benefits slightly. They might send out a nurse for no cost physical. Just check your height, weight, blood pressure, and the same at your own convenience. You could qualify for the program standard, and the company is extremely service oriented. So someone will call you just to ensure you're satisfied with the enrollment process, and they may ask you some of the same questions I did. So, John, other than affordability, or because this covers everything in one, what are the top 3 reasons that you have these insurance benefits? Well, we're all finished. You finally have this taken care of. You can finally take this off your checklist. How do you feel? Well, congratulations. It's important for you to understand now that you have this, you should never lose it. If anything ever needs to change or you need help, call the service number. Make sure you let your friends and family know I will be contacting them. I will also call you next week just to say hello. Have an awesome day.